I'm standing in Melbourne's Docklands in front of this beautiful ship called the Alma Doepel, which is shortly going to go back in the water after about 10 years of restoration. She's not complete yet, but in a couple of years she will be, and she'll be used as a sail training vessel. She was launched in 1903, so she's almost 118 years old, and she's got a great history. And we're going to talk to Ferdi Darley, who's been the chief shipwright on the project, and he's going to tell us a little bit about her. I thought, okay, tomorrow I'm going to see Ferdi. I thought, fuck, I should know something about the Alma Doepel. So
I've been practicing too. Only one down for a fake.
Somewhere up a river in New South Wales.
Yes, Port Macquarie.
No.
We got a...
Oh yeah, no, she was built.
Oh yes, yeah.
Somewhere near Coffs Harbour, but like the town they're saying is... Yeah, but that's like 30 kilometres inland.
Right.
So they must have got it down the river and out across this bar entrance once they built it.
Okay, that I'm not sure about.
Anyway, we're just going to walk and talk. Are you guys right? So what I gather, 1903, built for trading up and down the coast.
Built for, yeah, the log trade, timber trade originally.
So straight out cargo ship.
Absolutely, always a working, and very much that's her design too. Flat bottom, slab sided.
So that means it can get into shallow draft places? Is that part of the thing of being a log ship?
But also the hull is designed to carry maximum load as well. With that shape, internally
so it's a
you
sort
get
of
a lot
a
of
barge
volume.
shape almost, isn't it? You know that?
Yeah.
Not like a deep V.
Yeah, very much.
Barge. So she's built for moving timber up and down the New South Wales coast originally. Is that your understanding?
Yes, definitely, and from Tasmania, the timber trade in general.
So the whole east coast from
from
this Queensland border right down to Hobart.
Yep.
Right. And she is, I think, 1903, so that makes her 100 and, what's that, 120 years old
120
almost.
years, yep. And she is spotted gum on ironbark frames.
Yep.
Her keelson is one piece of ironbark.
One tree.
So the internal keel, if you like, one piece.
Is one tree.
Yep.
That's a big tree, isn't it?
Quite incredible.
And how much of, I mean, obviously the planking's all new?
All the planking's new. So the planking is spotted gum.
Yeah.
New South Wales spotted gum, 3 inches thick.
3 inches thick, not that thick.
Each plank in its uncut form, so the board's about 120 kilos each.
And around the transom here is presumably where they have the most bend.
Definitely.
So they come in there and bend.
Yep.
And you've got a plank that thick that you've got to like twist like that.
Yep.
And that's all just done through steaming.
All done through steaming.
And I mean, how long are you steaming those for? Days?
No, an inch an hour.
An inch an hour.
An
so
inch
3
an hour.
hours for those planks.
Yep, 3 hours. But we'd template and cut the plank, and then bag it, and steam it in its position. So you can clamp, I see. And then cut the bag off.
So you do it sort of incrementally along as you go.
Yep.
And I'm just looking here. So you've got what, like lengths? Some quite long lengths of planks there.
About 6.5 metres in general. And because of that, we couldn't get a 9 metre board. We could get 6.5. There's very few sawmills in Australia that will actually cut over 6.5 metres now due to occupational health and safety.
What? Because they get too long in the shed.
I suppose.
Hit people and stuff.
I suppose so, yep.
Yeah.
So therefore, with a shorter plank, we couldn't position our butts exactly as we wanted to position them. 3 frames, 3 planks apart.
You couldn't land them on the frames all the time, is what you're saying.
Well, we couldn't get our butts far enough apart.
Ah, okay.
So you'll see we've got scarf runs.
Yeah, I was wondering that.
Yeah.
So you've got these scarves here. So occasionally you get a scarf and then you'll just get a butt shot.
Yeah. So we'd do two runs of planking with traditional butts in them, and then 2 runs of planking with scarves in them, and then we could reset our butt pattern again and do 2, because it's quicker to butt them rather than scarf them. So we've combined the 2.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Well, and in all honesty, Mark, in ships like this, the butts always work. So actually, scarfed planks are going to be a better result for it.
Yeah. Right.
Definitely.
Okay. So because this big ship stuff is so different from yachts, which I know a little bit about, but I know nothing about this. Where did you learn this stuff?
Tommy Nielsen in England. So I did my apprenticeship at T. Nielsen's yard in Gloucester.
And what sort of boats were they working on? Like sort of tall ships?
Yeah, definitely. The smallest boat we would work on would be 60 foot.
Right.
Yeah.
And what are those nowadays? Are mostly sort of sail training, and I mean those big ships in England. It's the same sort of thing as this would be.
A number of them are sail training. There's still a number of them that are just commercial charter vessels and owned independently by entrepreneurs, kind of thing, running a business.
Yeah, right.
And probably an equal balance between that and sail training, actually.
Yeah, and I mean, I suppose a lot of the techniques and skills are translatable down to smaller boats, but some just aren't, are they? You know, like things like you're talking about bagging the planks while they're in situ for steaming and stuff like that. I mean, that's just a technique you'd have to know about from doing this big stuff. You'd never know about it if you just worked on yachts, because you don't need to. No, very much so. And even the templating. So we use a Danish technique to template the planks, and we're actually templating the inner face of the plank, not the outer face of the plank. Because like you said, with the twist and everything, on a 3-inch board back here with that shape, you've got some bevels that are 150 mil long on the edge of a board. Right. Yeah, because so the shape on the inside of the plank is so different from the shape on the outside of the plank.
Absolutely. Yep.
Getting your head around that, it just does me in, you know, thinking that. Yeah. Anyway, I know.
The templating, the actual templating technique is beautifully simple and accurate. So these planks were templated, cut, and fitted. They didn't come off again and be played with. They literally, the templating is that accurate that they're boom, on, fitted, done. Yeah.
Amazing. And then just traditionally corked between the planks?
Traditionally corked, about 8 miles, 8 kilometres worth of corking.
All banged in with corking irons?
All banged in with corking irons and timber mallets, corking mallets.
And you've still got people working for you?
Yeah, I know. 3 people did the majority of the corking too.
Really?
Yeah. I take my hat off to them. It was months worth of work for them.
And so you bang the corking in, and then they're sealed with?
We've used a product called Tixafelt, and it's a petroleum-based product, sort of very similar to a tarry compound, really.
Right.
And we can get it in cartridge form.
So you just like a sicker gun, just put it in there?
Pretty much, yeah. We thickened it up a little bit and made our own sausages and corked it in.
Right.
So we could have gone with maybe red lead putty, but I think the red lead putty, it eventually dries out and cracks, gives you problems down the line. We could have gone with traditional pitch and rolled them in with roll mops, but that would have taken a lot of labour and a lot of time. So we've used Tixafelt, which is, I'm not sure how many people are using it, but anyway.
Yeah. So the boat's going in the water in the next few days, whatever.
Yep.
So pretty much everything below the waterline is done now, yeah?
Yep.
So obviously, so it needs to float. And the reason it's going in the water now is that a financial thing to get it off the barge? Why is now the time? Why wouldn't you just keep working on it as it is here? Or is it a access thing, or?
We had our timber stock in the shed for probably 2 years, getting it to a humidity moisture percentage that would not be too dry or too wet to minimise the amount of movement on the vessel. So we don't want her out seeing another summer, really.
Okay.
Time she goes in.
It's a maintenance thing for the boat.
Yeah.
Right. Can we have a quick look around the hull?
Yeah, please, definitely. And we can go inside and have a look too if you want. Yeah.
So they're just going to put, 3 big slings under it?
So we've got chalk marks back there on the keel and up here on the keel, and that is where there'll be a pair of slings here and a pair of slings down there.
And they just put them underneath. And then do you have
spreader
bars across to stop it getting squashed?
Yep, 9 metre spreader bars.
Are they steel?
They're
big steel bars that you've made up for it?
No, that's the ship. That we've had to wait for this ship because this ship has specific lifting gear that will be able to lift this vessel.
Right.
So the spreader bar, the slings,
right.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah, it is a little bit.
Oh God, look at, under here, doing the planking under here.
Yeah.
I mean, in a sense, they're the easy ones because they're they're flat, but not because of access, I guess.
Not
because you're working upside down.
Well, we had a trolley, so we could just roll them down, jack them up, fasten them in. But you're right, you're always crouched over in an awkward position.
And what were the, sorry, you've probably said, what were the fastenings?
So the fastenings is about 5,000 ship's nails. We'll find one in a minute.
What are ship's nails?
So ship's nail for this girl is a 12 mil square bar with a chisel point. So both ends are just knocked off.
Yeah.
And you would then put that point in going cutting across the grain of the frame. So you don't put your point in that way and find the grain and split.
And
you
split.
put it in
not,
across the grain.
Yeah, so you don't want it to be like a chisel splitting in. You want it,
yeah,
right. And what are they made of?
They're galvanised steel.
Steel, right.
Yep.
And that's a very traditional way of doing it, is it?
Yep, very much. And then we've got...
And so they bang in, like you hammer them in?
Absolutely, sledgehammer.
You sledgehammer them, you whack them in.
Yep.
And just the friction on banging them is what's the grip is, because there's no thread or anything like that.
No.
It's literally just like a nail that just holds
It's a nail. It's a nail, and the formula is 2.5 times the length. The nail is 2.5 times the thickness of the plank.
So there's a 7 inch or something, 8 inch or something.
Yep.
Right.
And then dumps. Every sort of second frame will have a dump, and a dump is a...
Right through with a bolt.
No, that's just again a bigger nail, if you like, but that's got about 16 mil of diameter, so a lot more surface area holding on.
Right.
Same like a nail, you're relying on that friction, that surface area, but the dump has much more and has much more power.
And it's galvanised steel again.
It's galvanised steel, and that will help us also with our caulking, stop the boards from moving as much, a big heavy dump.
Right.
And then bolts as well. There's probably 4 bolts in every plank as well, especially up on the butt ends.
Yeah.
She carries 2 fisherman's anchors, traditional anchors, but we have put a sea anchor in, again for ease of deployment really, when you've got sail training members on board.
And so the fisherman's anchors deploy off the bowsprit?
No, there's
they come
2.
out of those hawser holes there, or those fair leads, do they?
The chains do, but they come back to cat heads.
Oh, on the rail there.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Yep, so they're...
And it'd be a pretty long bowsprit, wouldn't it?
Definitely, bowsprit and jaboom, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Wow. You get a good idea of the shape from here, Arch, don't you?
I can't remember what the name of the carving is. It's a flower, and a Kansas or a Kansas or a acanthus. It's a very traditional carving, but it means rejuvenation, new life, rebirth. So, apparently.
Right.
Yeah.
How cool was that? And was that an original thing, or is that a new?
Yeah, I'm not sure when in her history it was put on.
Yeah.
But that's been restored. It's not been recarved.
Yeah, nice. Should we go and have a look inside?
Yeah.
Are you good?
So about 400 planks, about 5,000 ship spikes, about 3,000 dumps, about 3,000 to 4,000 bolts, 100 double frames, 8 kilometres of caulking.
2 engines or?
2 engines.
2 engines.
Cummins, new Cummins engines, about 300 odd horsepower.
When would you guess she might have had the first engine put in?
Ooh.
Oh, she went to the war, didn't she, in Papua New Guinea, and they took her mast down. So it would have been pretty early. Probably, she wouldn't have been built with it, no.
No, she wasn't built.
But it would have been pretty soon after, maybe like 30s or something like that.
Yeah, probably.
During the war, she had her mast pulled down.
Yes.
So by the 40s, she had an engine in.
And we've left the first stern tube she ever had in her is still in there. Yeah, it was central.
Right.
Yep. So this was cut out for the propeller.
Yeah.
So we've filled all that in, but we've left the little stub of the shaft in there for history. Yeah. We are in the middle of doing our deck beams. So we've got 1, 2, 3 more big ones to do, and that is the end of the deck beams. They're all done.
Hold on. 3 more big ones. That one's in. So.
Yep, 1.
That gets replaced?
That will get replaced, definitely.
Yeah.
And then the one we're standing on.
Oh, right. Okay.
And the one next to us as well. So 2 here. And that one.
So those go in, and then you start decking over the top of it, or do you do a lot of interior work first?
No, we will fair everything off and start decking.
Seal it up.
Seal it up, definitely. Yep.
To lock up stage, as they say.
To lock up stage, yeah. I think Pete's sorting out the locks as we speak. But it is, we've got enough access to get all of our accommodation, timbers down and whatnot.
Right,
they won't be big timbers, so.
And when you say fairing off, so you get the beams in and then it's a case of just getting levels across it to make sure all the deck's going to sit really nicely. Is that what it is?
Yeah, exactly.
And is the deck going to be something like a yacht, like with an underlay and then planks on it, or?
We are going to go with a composite deck. So the original beach deck has been lifted off, and we are splitting that in half so that we can reuse it
as a laminate sort of.
As a laminate, yeah, exactly. So
the original deck?
The original deck.
But this will then have a ply substructure and then the original beach on top.
Yep,
Very
relayed,
cool.
line
So
up
it
all
should
the
sort of
nail
look
holes,
like
and
it would have looked.
Absolutely, yep.
And how wide are the planks roughly?
The planks are about 80, 90 mil wide.
Right. Okay.
Yep, about 3 inches thick. So yeah, we'll rip them down.
And presumably like a good working boat, not a yacht, they'll be straight, yeah?
Yeah, they're straight laid, definitely.
Yeah.
Yep, big king plank down the middle. So our joggles will fly off into our margin boards rather than come into a king plank. Yeah.
Right.
And so we will, so that'll be two layers of 19 mil plywood, fiberglass.
2 layers of 90mm plywood.
Yep.
So almost 40mm of plywood.
Yep. And then
10 mil
30 mil of
so
deck
originally
planking.
they were like 60 plus.
Yeah, yep, and corked. But, a ship like this corkscrews, so traditional decks leak like a sieve on boats like this. Yeah. But we'll keep our cover boards that cover the frame ends and sort of slot in around the stanchions. We'll keep them solid. They'll stay solid.
Right through to the deck beams.
All the way through. You'll have a traditional solid cover board. So our plywood will end shy. So we're going to put a joggle board in that our plywood end will land on, and so we can glass over that and down onto our joggle board, and then a traditional separate cover board on that.
Wow, just phenomenal, Ferdi. You're amazing.
No, it's all stuff I've learnt from someone else.
I know, but you've got it all in your head. I don't know how you keep all this information in your head. And so then decks on. So the superstructure here, the cabins, you can reuse a lot of this?
Absolutely. There is one more in the shed that goes over the engine room. Peter's removed that very carefully, so we'll reinstate that.
So that goes over this hole?
Yes, yep. And that will actually now be turned into a accommodation area. So there'll be a toilet and a shower in there.
At deck level? At
deck level, yeah.
Right.
And it'll have wheelchair access as well. So the whole boat will have wheelchair access and a cabin that people can use. The majority of the accommodation for, say, sail training or whatnot will be down below the vessel.
And this, so from, this wouldn't have been an engine originally, but from here forward would have all been cargo, wouldn't it, originally?
Yep, absolutely.
So that wouldn't have been original, that cabin?
No.
No, so right forward would have been just a big hole that you just lower stuff into.
Hatches, definitely.
And what happened with so they just put stuff in between the deck beams?
No, you would have, so that there would have been a huge, so as we haven't got deck beams running through here.
Yeah, right.
Yep, we've got 2 carlings and deck beams, so we create a hatch area.
Yeah.
That would have gone throughout the whole vessel, and pretty much that forward, dining area now, that was a hatch. That size was a hatch.
So she's going back to a triple-masted schooner?
Yep, 3-masted topsail schooner. Yep.
And so 1 mast here somewhere?
Yes, definitely. Just aft of the white post.
Right.
Aft of this deck house.
Yeah.
And on the forward edge of that deck house. Yeah.
Are you going to be doing the rig?
Yep.
Fantastic.
That's put all the rig together.
It'll be a fun bit.
Lots of serving.
Is she getting new sails?
I'm not sure. We have to pull the sails out and have a look.
Those are the things that excite me. I know they're the last thing on the list, but they
excited Cole Anderson as well.
No, that's the sort of God, imagine making the sails for this.
Very true.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
not
a long way down the track, I'm
Oh,
guessing.
no. And that's one of the reasons, you know, we could put the fit out in first, but no, we put the deck on so we can have two things running at once, and we'll move into the shed and start doing the rigging. So
Yeah, right.
yeah. So we're talking about the cranes. So the crane, because the yard has to sit away from the mast.
Yeah, so it can rotate.
So you can brace it. Yeah, exactly.
And so, is this the top? So that's up?
Yes, correct. So that will go back to the mast.
Yeah.
Where there'll be another fitting on the mast. And the same with this one. There'll be a yoke go between that, which is sort of like a bow, if you like, shape of a bow, that it then will have a tub on it that will slide up and down the mast.
Right. And it's only the forward mast that has these yards on it. And there's 3 of them.
Yep.
And the forward mast is called the forward mast. What's it called?
Foremast.
And the main mast is the back mast?
Because she's a schooner.
Yes.
Yep.
So always on a schooner, the back mast is the main mast.
Is the main mast.
Yeah, right. Because it's the tallest one. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, true. Yep.
And what's the
Biggest
middle
sail.
mast called? The middle mast.
Middle mast.
And this is the cabin that's going to go over that hole?
Yes, that's it.
And is that an original? Not original, but it's from the boat before renovation, right? You haven't built that.
And so that's the one we'll turn into the accommodation area as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Can we just come and have a look at these masts down here? So all these rigging screws can all be reused?
Yes, we'll check them all, make sure the threads are all good.
Yeah.
And send a couple off to be load tested just to make sure, but otherwise we'll reuse them, yes. Yep.
And the rigging is gal wire that you're going to have to make up all the new gal wire?
Yep, so there'll be turnbacks and seizings and splices at the top.
And they need to get tarred and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, there's the old rig is over on the shelf pretty much, but yeah, you're right, served and tarred. So we're going for a 7x7 wire, galvanised wire, and we're trying to locate that at the moment actually.
Is that hard to find?
7x7 in the size of 22mm, 25mm is very hard to find. You can get it in 16mm, 7mm, you can still get it, but yeah, those larger sizes. And I'm looking in Europe as well.
Yeah, right.
I'm drawing blanks at the moment.
And you'll need a lot of it.
We'll need a lot of it, yes.
So these are the original masts.
Yep.
Well, not original again, sorry. The previous masts.
Yep.
And where that collar is would be deck height?
Yes, exactly. So you've got a pin rail.
Yeah.
And you've got a spider band. So the loose-footed boom will come down and sit on that.
Yeah.
And
these are reusable and good?
They were made by Doug Jenkins many years ago.
Doug Jenkins?
Doug Jenkins.
Why Doug Jenkins?
Because
did he have a business
his
doing
company did a steel fabrication company, and he made them all for the Alma. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
God, I didn't know that.
So this is a deck beam we've taken out and we're going to restore it. So reuse part of it.
So this isn't one of the 3?
This is
or it is one of the 3 still to go back in?
Yes, it will go back in. We'll laminate up a full section to put underneath it, and therefore we can recut our camber on the top of it, getting rid of all of the rotten part of the timber.
Hold on, sorry, I'm not following you. Start that conversation again.
Okay.
So this is upside down?
The beam is upside down at the moment.
Yeah.
So we will plant a larger bit of timber on the underside of it.
Yeah. Oh, and then recut the top side.
Because where all the old nails were, we've got a lot of rot and deterioration.
So this will end up being cut to here somewhere.
Exactly right. Yep, right back up. So
and how do you take that off?
Chainsaw.
Just cut along it and then plane it down to get it to right.
Yep.
So the underside of the deck beams are square, aren't they?
Yep.
So this will end up, this is roughly square.
Yes, true.
Right. But you've got to put a bit on so that you've got enough on the other end to.
Yeah.
Right.
So we can cut all the bad timber away and reuse it. Otherwise, a new bit of timber, 350 by 250 by 9 metres long, is about $5,000. This is leftover planking stock, so we ordered all of our planking. Rather than buy bark to bark and have a lot of waste, we ran all our plank lines and took a gamble and worked out a width and ordered our stock sawn, so it was a lot cheaper to purchase the timber, and then we just had to make sure we could fit it.
So this is that literally all that got left over, just that little pile? So it's pretty close. And no doubt that'll get used in something.
That'll get used, absolutely. And we've got the plywood for the deck.
Oh, that's what that is?
Yep.
Oh, quite small, yeah, right. And this is, so this will be double sheets?
So it'll be that thick.
Yeah.
And then plus about that on top.
On top again,
Jesus.
yeah.
And do they all get glued together? And
Absolutely, yep.
it's
They'll
going to be nice. It's
fastened.
quite a structural thing, that, isn't it?
Oh, it really is. And that's one of the reasons that I said we're going to lap that onto a joggle board. We're going to lay down on the beam, because you've got such a rigid deck now.
Yeah.
That outer seam between the deck and the coverboard, I think that's something we've got to be really wary of.
Yeah, right.
And that's why I want to glass down onto a joggle board and then lay our coverboard over it.
It's a sort of natural fault line, isn't it, if things start moving? Yeah.
Yep.
Just out of interest, why wouldn't you carry the ply right to the edge of the boat and then put a sort of a false margin on it?
Because one area that all of these ships suffer from is the movement of their stanchions and water getting down.
Right, yeah.
So if we put plywood under there,
it's not going to fasten in properly.
the plywood will rot.
But if you've got timber that's thick, you can really
absolutely
crank it down and bolt it on.
Yep.
Yeah.
And cork it, maintain it over time as well around our stanchions.
I mean, are you going to have pumps everywhere standing by for it, or you will? It'll take up. I mean, it'll take in water.
Prepare for the worst.
When you look at it like this, you think, my God, it's not going to. But there'll be water in the bilge when it goes in, won't there?
I'm not going to. I'm not going to say. I'm not even going to comment. I'm not going to jinx this.
4 days after recording this interview, the Alma Doepel was towed down the Yarra River by 2 huge tugs. She was tied up alongside an AAL ship, and very carefully she was lifted a couple of metres up in the air. The barge was then dragged out from under her, and for the first time in 10 years, she was lowered into the water. The whole process took about 5 hours. We recorded it, and we've compressed it into a couple of minutes for you now. The best thing about it was, when she was finally put back where she belongs, she didn't leak a drop.